Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Live Your Spa Life show. Spa life is a lifestyle that accepts that accomplishment and harmony happen together. The Spa and Spa Life, the SPA, is for Seek Power Always, that power within you to do your greater work in the world. I am so thrilled to introduce our special guest that we have today, Michelle Van Etten, who is an international best-selling author. She's a motivational speaker and a business coach. One of the things I love is when she talks about how she's grown her 7-figure business through her phone. I mean, how many of you want to do that? And she teaches people how to do that. Now, when she's not working on her business, she is traveling, and her next big trip is Ireland. That's so exciting. Michelle, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you, Diane. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Ireland. How did you choose Ireland?
I think Ireland chose me, which is kind of cool. I actually it's a really fun story. I should have brought it out. I have a travel dream board. And on this dream board, I've been dying to go to Italy. I've got lots of pictures of Italy and everything, but I actually put in big letters, Ireland. And so, unbeknownst to myself, but as the universe works, as we know, it all worked together. And one of my friends who's a travel agent who does these really exotic kind of trips, she's like, hey, we're going to Ireland. You want to go? I'm like, well, yeah, it's on my list. And I look on my list and I'm like, it's the only one that was in big letters was Ireland. So I think it was meant to be.
I love that. That's so great. Well, definitely next year put Italy big on there too, because I love that. But Ireland's on our list as well. And I love how you have a separate one for just travel, right? Just a vision board that just focuses on the travel. We do a lot of traveling and love that too. So that's a nice little tip and trick right there. So perfect.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. I never expected it to be as successful as it was. I did this 5 years ago. So what you think about, you will bring about. Even if you're not thinking about it at that moment, it's going to happen.
Right. Well, and as we know, as we go on our entrepreneurial journey as well as in our life, so many things like happen as part of the process. And we talk about what are some of the things that were disempowering to you. And as we move through, there's a lot of things that can work well, but I really want to talk, you had a very specific thing, especially when we talk about media and how that affects us. Would you share? I know this is a tough one for you because this kind of took you out of the game a little bit, but it's so important because everyone sees the successes and they see, all the wonderful things that you've done, but they don't necessarily see behind the scenes some of the things that have taken you out and how you move through those. So can you share about that disempowering moment where media really messed with you?
Yeah, it gives me the chills. So I was asked to speak at the Republican National Convention, and I really had no clue what I was walking into. I had gone to an event in California, and it was just a room with about 140 women that they were having some speakers speak at. And they had, a writer for them and all. And so I kind of thought that's what they were doing before the convention, not actually having me speak at the convention until 2 days before I get there. That's when I realized that I'm actually main stage. And 3 days before that, a fake bio gets given to the press saying that I have 100,000 employees. Well, I can't be a small business owner and have 100,000 employees. That's bigger than Microsoft. That's bigger than Google. So all of a sudden, I'm this no name out of nowhere, right? Because I didn't put my name in the hat to be on the stage. And I've got every single newspaper on the planet calling me, trying to find out who I am. So then they find out I'm in network marketing. Well, instantly, I have no credibility whatsoever because I'm in network marketing. So I have no credibility. They are writing terrible stories about me before I even get up there to speak. And then once I did, there was a lot of stuff going on. So the teleprompters were going on and off and going back to the beginning. They were trying to mess people up. It's so sad, but there was a lot of different little things in play. And the teleprompter went back twice on me. And I spoke through it, and now listening to it back after I finally I didn't give it any more power. I started to say, you know what, I did it. I spoke in main stage in front of 50,000 people and 114 million online, because it was all publicized, of course. Right. And every TV station, radio station, they were all in front of me. That's crazy. When you have about 175 people all down below taking pictures as you're on the stage, it's a little intimidating. And I let it get to me that I didn't do it perfect. But what I had to realize is there is no such thing as perfection, right? That we're all a perfect mess. And as long as we learn to live in our genius of that mess, we can do incredible things. And it did take me a while to actually get my power back and to say, you know what, this is a huge experience. I should be extremely ecstatic that I had the chance to do it and not beat myself up because it wasn't perfect. And that was the hard lesson to learn, is that perfection is just in my mind, and that if I bring it out to people, they're going to notice it more and make it worse, but it's not necessary.
Right. This is such an important lesson for all of us to really look at. Well, first of all, congratulations for getting on such a big stage.
Thank you.
People haven't been on a really big stage. It can play with you, right? There can be a mindset issue, and especially when you've got media that people don't really see in the background, that they are trying to have a sensational, like they're looking for a story, and usually they do it from a negative angle because it causes controversy. And if you've not been at the end of that, it can be really intimidating. I used to experience this in the police department, and this is why they didn't like us to make media comments, because they would totally twist what you had said and what happened at a scene. And there were too many times I'd come home after a big incident and watch the news and be like, oh my God, they took a fraction of what I said and spun it in a completely different way. And so it's really frustrating when those kind of things happen. However, when you come from the place that you're there to serve, that you're there to get a bigger message out and to be there and to stand in that, it's so important. And I just applaud you for, kind of dusting yourself off from that and actually getting back out there. And that's really what it's about, is when these things happen and they take us out, whether we move ourselves through it, or we've got some mentors, or we've got a tribe of people that have our back, that just cheerlead us back into, the crowd, then it's really, really helpful. Talk a little bit about fear, having like the knowledge of fear and what that stands for, and how you've kind of utilized that. You talk about the acronym around that and how you move through it.
So fear is just false realities appearing real. And so I had to, I had to really search deep in my soul, because that really knocked me out of the game. I mean, I had never had bad press, and now if you look up my name, there's 30 pages of it. And so I had to really take myself back and understand that, like you said, they are going to find the negative side of things. And there's nothing more fearful than standing on a stage in front of 50,000 people. I can guarantee you that. And to not know if they're going to like your message or not. But they did. I had standing ovations. So I should have been happy with that. But it was still, like I said, and then afterwards, it was the fear that maybe I wasn't good enough to do it. And so I had to fight through that, because that was a false reality. Everybody who talks to me says, you need to be on a radio show. You need to have your own podcast. You need to help other people in business. You're gifted in these different areas, and you're letting something that you did that is so amazing hold you back from giving back to everybody else who can benefit from you.
Right. And it's so helpful to put things in, that perspective. And I know there's a lot of acronyms around fear, but one of the things I love is, face everything and rise, right? Like no matter what comes to you, right, you just face it and you move into that. And whenever you're confronted with it, if you just know, hey, I'm going to rise beyond this, I'm going to, move through it, in it, whatever that is, to actually have that happen. So I think that's amazing. So let's talk about something that has empowered you. I know that you and I just spent some time in Dallas, and, there's some things that really have elevated you. And so let's talk about an empowering moment.
Well, one of the most empowering things that happened was actually getting to be around my tribe, going to the E-Women's Network and being around women who lift each other up, who are incredibly brilliant, they're living in their power. They know what they want. They're going after their dreams, and they're succeeding at everything they're doing, or they're failing forward and not giving up and going and dusting themselves off, saying, you know what, I still shine bright. Let me show everyone. And they just keep doing it until they get it, until it becomes, easier. Or I always say that it takes a long time to learn something, just like in school or anything else. Being a speaker, owning a business, you have to learn those skills. You're not going to be perfect at it when you first get started. And so it was just great to be around that kind of mentality and people who want to just push you to discover your own brilliance and to shine.
Right. It's so important. A lot of times we'll see somebody who, looks all polished and put together, but yet they don't see that they had 5 seconds before a tech issue, right? Or that they have, something that happens with their team. And so it's important to show all the aspects of the journey. We talk about, like, on the social media, we see the highlights of people's life. We don't always see where are the struggles and where are the things that, you're really moving through. And we don't want to get stuck in those things. But by mentioning it when they come up for us, then we can be like, oh, okay, this is just part of the process. Like, we can move through this. This is how you can stand in your power. This is how you can be like, okay, this is just part of it. It's not just this one-off. And, I know that you really, you design your life. And this is what we look at here when we have these conversations about how we're designing our life versus living by default. What are some of the tools that you utilize in terms of, you talk about, like, setting up your day? What do you do to make that happen?
Well, to set up my day, I usually will plan it the day before, because if you have a plan, you're going to be able to get more accomplished. So I've got my little to-do list, and my favorite thing in the world to do when I'm working from a to-do list is to be able to scratch it off. Oh my gosh, there's nothing better than being able to take something off my list. It's like, yes, I did it. I succeeded in what I needed to get accomplished today. And so right now I'm in the process of learning another whole system and putting together courses and things like that. And so I have to set aside these hours to get stuff done. And I've got a puppy who takes up a whole lot of time, by the way. Little French bulldog puppies, they are like little kids, I can guarantee you that. And so he has to have his time too. So I'm working between that and then schedules and also doing my networking business. And so I'm trying to, juggle a bunch of hats and not do anything halfway. Right. Because if you do it halfway, you're not doing it at all. So you just have to keep moving. But the best thing I can say is that to-do list and knocking off the most important ones first, getting my training out of the way first thing in the morning so that I can then concentrate on the other things that are going to take away my time. But then if my daughter needs me to go somewhere or do something, or my husband needs me to go do something, I'm still available to do it because I've already taken and ate that frog. Like Brian Tracy would say, eat the frog first.
Right. Yeah. They talk about the things that you do before noon really sets up your day and have that sense of accomplishment. I'm such a huge fan of planning your day the night before, because, when you look at that, what time you're getting up in the morning, where you need to be, what's the flow, if you're leaving out of your home, what do you need to bring with you? When you do that the night before, you actually do sleep better, and you just, start the day running, which is, or not even running, really actually just knowing what you're doing and settling into what you're doing as well. Right. I also know that you like to connect with God in the morning and have conversations. What's some of your process around that? Are you, you do prayer, meditation? What gets you connected in the morning?
So something I've started recently, it's from the book by Bob Bodine, 2 Chairs. And literally setting up 2 chairs and having a conversation with God, talking to him about my, what I'm trying to accomplish. He already knows what my goals are for, what I need and what I'm asking for. And can he provide it? Yes. So when I sit there, it's like you calm your mind a little and you settle in. And when you do that, you allow listening and hearing and finding out where you're supposed to go and what you're supposed to do. And it really does set up that great foundation for, okay, this is where I'm going. This is the direction I need to follow. And these are the people who are going to be in my path that are going to help me and that I can help them get where we need to go.
Love that. I love listening to, people's different morning processes. And I've not heard this about the 2 chairs. And how great is that you have a physical thing in front of you where you can actually have this, like, a dialogue and, be present to hear, the different messages. One of the things I use is an acronym called PIES, which is IES, and to remember it. And one of the things in the morning, what part of my morning routine is that, the P is physical. Like I check in with my physical body, like what's happening with my body, what do I need to do? And then the I is for intellect, like what's going into my head, like what's all the things that are happening there, things I need to remember. And then the E is for emotion, like what kind of emotions are coming up for me? How am I feeling, right? Because I believe that your feelings really indicate how you're going to do the day and, how you're showing up. And when you do those first three, it actually clears the slate for the final S, which is the spiritual message. Because once I've cleared that, I ask then God, what is the spiritual message for me today? Where are you directing me today? What's happening? And sometimes I hear something right away, and sometimes I'm in the shower or some other time during the day, but it just comes. And just trusting that I'm going to be, divinely guided and led, I think just really makes it feel like you're not in it alone. Like you have everyone's greater forces are conspiring to help you succeed. And that's a process that I do myself and I share with my clients, because I found that it really grounds you. And I think it's important to have a morning practice.
That is amazing. I'm going to definitely start doing that, because that's awesome. I need that. I'm going to write down that acronym and definitely use it, because that is so true. And I think sometimes I'll forget some of those aspects of it, and it's not it will probably be even more effective once I've grounded all of those things and then go sit in my 2 chairs. Right. Normally I'm like, okay, it's coffee time. Let me drink some bulletproof coffee, and I will be okay in a few minutes, and I'm ready to start this.
Right. Absolutely. Well, and also I know also one of your techniques is to just do something, right? To not overthink things. What are some of the, things that you do that allow you to stay out of procrastination or hesitation, that, allows you to move into action?
I just start. I'll fail. I don't care. If I don't do anything at all, I'm procrastinating. If I just start, a great example, if you don't have everything, like I said, perfect, I've gotten over this whole perfection thing. Yeah. It doesn't matter, because I can tweak and tweak and tweak. But if I don't start because I have to have it perfect, it's not getting done. Right. I'd rather do it wrong and fix it than not do it at all.
Right.
So I'll fix it along the way. Yeah. I won't do it halfway, but if I don't do it perfect the first time, I'll just keep working on it until I get a message, or until I get the reaction or actually result that I'm looking for. And once I get that result, then I'm like, okay, now I can dial in on whatever I was doing and start really getting it going.
Yeah, right.
But if you don't get in action, it's like somebody who says, I'm going to go work out every day, right? I'm going to the gym, I'm going to the gym, and I'm going to the gym. They never get off the couch. Yeah. I'm going to go someday, and someday turns into never.
Right.
And
right.
so just like I heard from Sandra Yancey, instead of someday, say day one. And I was like, that is awesome. I will take that with me, because that's so true. So when I left there, I said, that was day one. Let's see what I can do.
Right, right. And everyone has these great intentions, but if we don't have the action and we don't have some sort of system to get us moving and moving forward, I love you say, you can always shift and change. I like to call that the pivot, right? You can move forward, but you can always pivot and change and do something different. But getting going. Have you read the 5-second rule, Mel Robbins? Are you familiar with that book?
No, but I'm going to have to get it.
Yeah, it's this was a game changer for me, because one of the things she talks about is that when somebody has an idea to do something, or even if they have it on their calendar, if they give themselves just a second of a hesitation, it then turns into procrastination, then it becomes into excuses, and then it doesn't get done. And so the critical mass of whether you do something or not is 5 seconds. And so she literally, either if she's by herself, she does a countdown, she'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And at 1, you have to move. If you're sitting down, you just move a foot, you move a hand, you literally do something physical to move, because now you're in the motion of doing something. Because if you stay in your head, you're actually not moving, you're still mulling it over, and you're making it happen and having that happen to you. And if other people around, you can do it in your head, but I sometimes will do that, where I'll just do this quick countdown where it's at 1, you got to move, right? It's something that is in place that allows you to do that. Because I think sometimes we think we're going to move forward. We have the intention to move forward, but, distractions and things that can come up, like, what are the things that we have in place that actually allow us to move forward? So that's kind of a fun way to do it too.
I'm learning a lot. I'm like, okay, I got my book list going, my acronyms going. I'm loving this.
Right. Well, this is just part of these discussions we have because, we all learn from each other. I look at it as like you, me, and our friends who are listening right now, because when we learn just one little tweak from each other, because things that you say remind me of things, and, how we talk about this is how we stand in our power together. It's like, we know certain things and we sometimes forget them. And so just having these kind of conversations allows us to stand more deeply in that and to just express that. And I believe too, when we're creating the things that work for us, that our environment plays a big role in how we are affected by everything. And so one of the questions I love asking my guests is, we have different experiences in our bedroom versus our kitchen versus our living room. What is your favorite room in your home and why?
My favorite room in my house has to be my office when I can get in it. Right now, my house is under construction because we want to move. So we're doing like all the different rooms. So we're putting in new floors. We're doing this and that. But my office I've got set up. It's, got the barnwood floors, the metallics. It's beautiful. There's a skyscape, of the New York skyline. And it has the towers in it, and it goes behind my head. And it's just, wow. The room is just so empowering and beautiful. And I did most all the work in there myself. So that's my favorite room. As of right now, it's kind of holding everything that was in my son's room. And so other than that, it's probably the bathtub. Going in there, having the candles, listening to some spa music and bubbles, and I'm good to go.
Oh, I get you, girl. My bathroom sunken tub was the reason why I bought my house.
There you go. See?
Yeah. These little things that call to us that are in our space is so amazing. So good. Well, speaking of being called to, you have a deep passion project and something that you are working on, and you're going about it in a bit of a unique way in what you're creating and what your give back is around that. Please share what you're up to.
So God put on my heart a while ago about human trafficking. It was before it became like the center point of everything. If you go to any single truck stop right now, they're talking about human trafficking. Many of the signs are starting to discuss human trafficking. Well, it's an epidemic that most people do not want to know that is here. They think it's somewhere else. Right. Well, by 2020, human trafficking is going to be a bigger problem than drugs. It's going to make more money than drugs, and it's also going to make more money than guns. It is literally more profitable. And what is happening to these girls and boys and babies and kids is just not okay. And so what I did was I created these really pretty rhinestone bra straps. And they are all different styles, and they look gorgeous on pretty much any shirt, like any kind of top that has the shoulders out or strapless or anything. And $3 from each pair is going to go to help end human trafficking. And there's kind of a 3-part way that I want to do this. Part 1 is to provide, I would like to do it locally if I can find a local place that is helping the girls and boys who have been rescued to, get into something else. Maybe it's to help with a fund, a scholarship so that they can go to college or trade school, but to help with them in their transition. That's what I would like to do. And I'd really love to be able to, if it was local to me, then I would be able to see what was going on and really be a part of the whole experience. The second part that was given to me is we are empowering and we all have a story. So I would like to find other women who have had very almost traumatic stories and where they came from and where they went, and start telling these girls or these victims that there is hope, that they can rise above any circumstance that they're in. One of the things that I think about is like a Tiffany box, right? I've heard so many women say, oh, my husband loves me. He got me this. And they're looking at the box. They're not even looking at what's inside of it because, you know, as everyone knows, a paper clip can cost you $1,500 over there. So it's just a box, but they put their worth by saying, you know, he loves me because he bought me this. And they're not even talking about the item. It's just the box, right? They put their worth in that box, right? Because the name on it. Right. They're more precious than any jewels. There's not a stone out there. There's nothing out there as precious as you are. And so you need to understand that you're uniquely beautiful. You're perfectly created, and that you need to shine. That's what it's all about. So empowering these young kids, because that's what most of them are. The average age is 12. Average. Right. Think about that. That's just unheard of. The average age is 12. And so empowering these young women or young girls to see themselves as beautiful, as priceless, as treasures, I'm hoping can maybe change the rate that they go back out there and end up being victimized again. Right. So that's a really big part of it.
Yeah. And this is such important work. And, you know, for those of you who, you know, maybe didn't hear that statistic that she was talking about, you know, Michelle, share that again, because I think you're right. I think sometimes people think like it happens in this little corner of the world, or, you know, it happens not in their neighborhood, or it's in another country, and just like all of these, like, you know, not thinking that it's affecting our own neighborhoods. In fact, I think a lot of people don't realize the number one place that abduction happens every year is actually at the Super Bowl. And it is insane. I mean, you think about like America's game, you know, something that people watch everywhere, but yet they're not seeing the people that are getting snatched up during those events. And it's just really frightening to think about how that happens and the people's lives that get affected. So I'm just, you know, thrilled that you are putting some energy into this. And, you know, especially you think about the age, right, that's happening, where self-esteem comes up. And even for those who aren't, you know, being abducted, you know, there is all these things around how we think about ourselves and how we compare ourselves to other people. And so, you know, really reaching out and connecting with other people and, you know, seeing what are the things that we're telling ourselves, like, what is it? I love you talk about this being that we're perfect, right? The way we are, right? That how we are now, we don't have to change anything. If anything we need to shift is how we're thinking, but who we are, who we core are, is magnificent. And to have more of those kind of conversations is because, I mean, you start having conversations around when do these things happen? And a lot of times, you know, they're like in grade school when there starts becoming comparison and who's the more popular person and who's the person that's left out and what does that look like and how are we including people? And, you know, it's these little habits that when we start having some awareness around them, we can shift how we are being in the world. So I applaud your project, and I know for our listeners that you have a way that they can get this.
Well, first, I'll go back to the statistic again. The scary thing is, in the United States, it's happening in every single neighborhood, in every single town, in every single city, in every single state in the United States. No, there are no real exceptions. So when you look around, just know somewhere around you, this is going on. Somebody's life is being bought, sold, and taken away from. And so that is what I think is the biggest thing. Most people want to hide about it and like hide their head in the sand and not think about it, because it's really not the best thing to think about, right? What's going on with other people. But the average age is 12. I have a 13-year-old daughter. Love her. Insanely amount of love for this child. Is she going through her own little phases right now? Am I trying to constantly bring her back to let her understand that those shorts, being that short, do not work out so well because you're drop dead gorgeous and you make yourself a mark? Though, you know, how you dress, how you think, what you do as a teenager really needs to be looked at, because these are all things that are being watched by others that you don't know. And so this is something that you have to understand and really grasp, that people talk about drug overdoses and other things, but when you look at 850,000 kids are missing at any given moment, just know where they are. Unfortunately, right. A good portion of them know where they are. Know what's going on. Don't hide. And so I created a company. It's called Angel Straps, and it's all about sparkling for a cause. And so it's still in the works. I'm putting all the pieces of the puzzle together and testing different things, but planning to roll out a complete rollout within the next 4 to 6 months.
Got it. So great. Well, I know that, you know, for the listeners who are on here, we're going to have one winner that gets to get one of those. So, you know, there's always a, you know, getting something here, helping, supporting a cause, and just really getting awareness out there as well. So definitely when this episode gets out, if you are able to put in like some of the links and ways that people who are watching the episodes later and as these things roll out, if people keep coming back to here, they can see in the comments. They can also look in the show notes about ways to stay connected with Michelle and this cause. And if this is on your heart, you know, you're also connected on social media, so people can connect with you there, send you a private message, and see how they can either buy them, support the same cause, maybe have the same interests. I mean, we saw just being at a convention in Dallas with eWomen, how many other women who were starting to stand for this, in having awareness around this and it being a passion project that is happening. So, you know, having the awareness is really huge. And we don't want, you know, our young daughters to and granddaughters to be fearful in the world, but awareness is really key to know that, you know, not everyone does have your back, and, you know, making sure that you have a buddy girlfriend with you, that you're not alone in, you know, a bathroom, and, you know, anytime that you can protect yourself in different ways. Also, I believe some self-defense is helpful as well, just to be able to really not only just survive, but thrive and have still a positive outlook in the world, but also have the awarenesses of what's happening. So what we'll do for the winner here is that whoever puts like in the comments, whoever just says Angel Straps in the comments, they'll be the first one who will be the winner, and you will be able to connect the two of you together and you know, set somebody up to be sparkly.
Awesome. I will have the Facebook page up pretty soon. I've already started working on that. I just got back, so I'm trying to put the other pieces together. But yeah, the Facebook page will go up where you can purchase them, and I'll give you the link for that as soon as I get it completely finished.
Perfect. So good. Awesome. Well, Michelle, thank you so much, you know, for being here and sharing this such, you know, worthy cause, and, you know, all the things that you're doing to lift people up and to assert your voice, right? It's so important to, you know, be the spokesperson for those who can't, you know, stand up for themselves, and to really support in that way. So any final thoughts?
No, but thank you so much. This has been a wonderful experience, and I love talking to you. I guess, yeah, one final thought. Never doubt your own power, because you have limitless.
Right. So important. Thank you so much, you know, for sharing that. And, you know, that just kind of reminds me as well for everyone listening here. I have a free gift for you where it's resetyourpowergift.com. So we're talking about this whole thing about power. What are some of the moves you can do to stand in your power, to assert your voice, to really have some key strategies to support you in that. And we'll have that in the show notes as well, the resetyourpowergift.com. And I just want to thank you all for being here with us, for whether you're listening or watching. Put in some of the, you know, some of your feedback, some of the comments of what was it that was an aha for you? Like, what is it that you're going to take away? What kind of shifts are you're going to do to really reclaim that power in yourself? Because it is in you. And I just want to thank you for your most valuable resource, which is your time, of sharing that with us here. And until we connect again, live your spa life. Bye for now. See you.
Bye.